All right, welcome in. This is the High School Football Digital Show. I know it looks a little different. Carl and myself joining from Zoom. I'm a little under the weather, but the show doesn't stop, right, Carl?
Well, you had to give her a little chicken noodle soup. You had to give her a little with Pedialyte and some saltines. So she can feel better. Everyone, she's on the mend, so we have to, do the best we can. That's what they do in football. You call an audible at the line. You see what the defense is in. Maybe want to make a change or a check, and you try to move the change. This is what we're doing.
See, this just shows I'm dedicated to the lifestyle, Carl. I'm still doing my job, even when I don't feel good. He's holding in a laugh right now. All right, let's get to it, though. Another great week of high school football. I was in Texas last week, so I wasn't able to join in on the fun. I got to talk to both head coaches on Zoom, but we have two undefeated teams going head-to-head tomorrow. What are you looking forward to in that matchup?
Georgia, I think the big thing is just two upstart teams that have had success in years past, just maybe have not had it on a consistent basis. And I think that's what makes each one of these programs so cool is the mere fact that you have two programs that have had some sort of success a few years ago, but maybe have had some lean years here and there with some coaching changes and whatnot. Head coach John Ritter, who's the coach in Russellville, was actually the head coach of West Morgan and got that team to a number of wins and playoff performances and maybe playoff bids rather. And he moved on to another job, obviously at Russellville right now. And the same thing for Rogers. They've had some coaches that have moved on over the years and maybe have kind of dropped off a little bit. But it's really good to see the communities, each respective community kind of rally around those head coaches, the players, the development, the evaluation to kind of get them to this point. And here we are early in the year with major success for both, 4-0, undefeated, both looking to try to either move to first place within Class 4A Region 7, or more importantly, have sole possession of Class 4A Region 7. That kind of is dictated off of Deshler, and it depends on if Deshler can indeed get the win. They host winless Wilson tomorrow night, but if Deshler falls, then the winner of that contest will be all alone in first place.
I love how you mentioned the communities too, because that's just such a big thing each and every Friday. That's one of my favorite parts going to these game of the weeks and seeing the communities and seeing how they rally behind teams. And both head coaches actually touched on that, how important that will play in the game tomorrow on Friday. But aside of our game of the week teams, what other teams have kind of stood out to you so far this season?
I think, the high scoring teams within our area and in the city and in the greater North Alabama area, Westminster and Randolph have been out of their minds scoring the football. There used to be a few years ago, Randolph, Westminster, St. John Paul II, Priceville. If you would look at when you got to maybe the midpoint of the year, Georgia, and for our viewers, they would all be, you'd have 5 to 7 teams in that classification that would be leading the state in points scored and average points per game. And we have two teams doing just that this year. Westminster undefeated on the year under head coach Louis LeBlanc. They have an outstanding quarterback in Brandon Mush. He has been outstanding. He's also been named our 48 Blitz Player of the Week so far this season in one of our weeks. And then on the flip side, you got Randolph and head coach David Lloyd. They throw it all over the yard. They have a 48 Elite 8 member in Nick Strong, who's been outstanding this year. He's been a player of the week thus far this season. And then just this week, his quarterback, Andrew Hunter, was named player of the week as well. So they have 2 players of the week after Andrew threw for 350 yards and 7 touchdowns in their win over North Jackson at home last week, 52-10. So both of these two teams, the first to 50 may win it, but it's going to be exciting. We'll have cameras out there for our 48 Blitz show. But that is an intriguing game because it kind of maybe gives a little headway for one of those two teams to maybe host. And what I mean by that is have one of the first or second seeds within their region. So they'll be able to have someone come to them from another region instead of having to fall potentially to seed 3 or seed 4, where they're going to have to travel on the road for the first round of the playoffs once we get to the postseason. So an important game, kind of a bragging rights game. Both of these coaching staffs take pride in what they do, and players do as well. They know each other very well. But this is going to be a high scoring affair, kind of one of those old Big 12 games that you see out there on Saturdays, basically just throwing it all over the yard. It's going to be exciting to watch.
And I want to give you a shout out, after the 48 Blitz show, you now have something new that post show, you talk to fans, players, go behind the scenes. How's that been so far? And what's been your favorite part of doing that?
Yeah, George, it's been fun. Obviously, would love to have you there as my teammate behind the scenes. But obviously, after every Friday night, you're coming back for my respective game of the week, so you're not able to make it here before we end that show. But basically, in a nutshell, for everyone watching, is an easy way after the 48 Blitz show that you watch on WAFF at 48 from 10 to 10:30. It's an easy way to be able to hop on your phone. If you're traveling back from a game, or you may be sitting on the couch and just want to get a little bit more from our area teams from across North Alabama, with scores, extended highlights, more importantly, some interviews with winning coaches, a little bit of everything. It's kind of a free form type of platform, and it's just really cool to have this for all of our viewers to kind of have an extended period to maybe go through some scores that maybe we didn't go through during our telecast. Georgia, we know that we have a lot of games packed into a short amount of time, but we show scores from all other games. We interact with our viewers that are watching on 48 Now and on Facebook Live on Fridays. They ask questions, we answer them. So it's really cool because it's structured, but it's not. And I think that's the kind of cool and beauty of that show, the 48 Blitz OT show, is that it's unscripted. I'm literally just basically ad-libbing and wanting to hear from our viewers on some of the games they've been to, and recapping some big games and kind of some storylines that maybe we just didn't have enough time to get through during our telecast from 10 to 10:30.
So if you haven't checked it out yet, be sure you check that out tomorrow after 48 Blitz. Game of the week, we mentioned that earlier. Let's go ahead and get to those Zooms from both coaches I talked to earlier today. Great start to the beginning of the season. How are you feeling going into this great matchup on Friday?
We're feeling really confident. We got a good group of kids. We've got an older group of kids that have been doing this for a little while. 15 seniors, and we got good football players, but they're really good people, and so they've bought into kind of our process and keeping maturity in every game. It doesn't matter who we play; we're kind of taking the same approach, and so we're really confident and really excited to play and test ourselves versus a quality opponent.
So other than, them being older and maturity, leadership, what's something that really stands out about this group of guys that you have?
I mean, I think it's their grit and, their attitude. No matter what happens, these guys keep fighting and persevering, through any type of obstacle. They've kind of had a rough, go of things, before I got here, and, had some bad things happen at the school, and, had some troubling things as far as with the program. And since we've been here, those kids, I mean, it was kind of, so what, now what? It's time to go to work. And, it doesn't really matter what's happened in the past. We're going to press forward and overcome these obstacles. And just like last year, we were in a bad spot, and they won 3 in a row, including beating these guys to get in the playoffs. And so we just got a mature group of kids that, are going to keep fighting. And then, like I said, attitude wise, I mean, they have fun while they do it. It's obvious if you watch us practice and watch us play, these kids, have a lot of joy in playing together. And so that's really fun for me. It energizes myself and my coaching staff as well.
You kind of touched on going through tough times. How important do you think it is for coaches to be there for the players, that they know that they have you guys even off the field?
Well, we play a game, and this game's important to a lot of us, but it's really more representative of life, and we try to use this game to teach them about, trials and hardships that they're going to face, when they get out of here and get in the real world. And so we try to use our program to help build these men into, great citizens of the world that'll go out and do really, really good things. And that's what's really encouraging to me, is these guys, like, 9 through 12, we do something on Thursdays to where we spotlight, one person of each grade, and they step up, and everyone's got to say something they like about them. And, there was a senior that stood up, and a freshman raised his hand and said, he's a really good friend. And in a lot of programs, you don't have that. You have ninth graders scared of the seniors. You have, that's not how it is here. And, everyone's together. Everyone wants everyone to do well. It doesn't matter how much you play. We're in this together. And that's what's so encouraging about these guys is they play for each other. They play with joy in their heart. And that's what makes it fun for me.
So going back to the game aspect of it, the first game you won in overtime. Do you feel like that kind of set the tone for the season, that overtime win?
Yeah, like we said before, we had to play, 4 quarters and beyond and had to go through some things and overcome some adversity and, to where we thought we'd won the game. And then we give up a kick return and we had to get a stop for them to tie it and then had to get a 4th and 2 stop to win it. And anytime you get put in those situations and you find a way to win, it obviously gives you confidence. And, we know we can play a 4-quarter game and beyond and have success. So I think that really fueled our guys and proved to them again that, hey, it doesn't matter what happens, we're going to fight through it and finish.
So with Friday going up against another undefeated team, region opponent, has practice been any different this week, or have you kind of went in it the same as you have the weeks before?
Yeah, we've kept the same schedule. I like the process part of it. We get in a schedule, we get in a routine. We want to stay on that routine as much as possible because for us, every game's important. And, we're going to spend the same amount of time on everybody preparing. And this region's a really good region. Every game's challenging. And obviously, this team's really, really good. And they do a good job. Coach Phillips does a great job. And, we have a lot of respect for them, but we also have a lot of confidence in ourselves and what we do. And so, just going, doing our part, trying to get better every day. And once again, have fun in the process of it, because if you don't enjoy it, what's the point? And so that's kind of, we play music as loud as you can. We do these little competitions like this week. We do it every Tuesday. This week it was linemen doing pass 7-on-7. They never get to do that. They never get to catch the ball. Well, we did that with them for 5 minutes and, just kind of, lightens the mood and makes things a little bit more fun. So we like to do things like that once a week.
So you talk about, having fun, enjoying the game. Obviously Fridays, communities come out, support, and that adds a lot to the atmosphere. What are you expecting from a community standpoint on Friday?
Our community is awesome and they really care. And our student section's been electric this year. They throw confetti, they, do baby powder, all this stuff. And they, it's been really fun to see all the stuff they do. And, they've even made some people mad because some of the stuff that they've done, but our kids are loving it. And this community really rallies around this football team. And we had a guy come and talk to us a few weeks ago that played here and played for my granddad here and talked about, what it means to be from this community. And this is kind of the only show in town and everybody wants to come out and see these kids play and represent. And so that adds fuel to the fire for these guys, gives them another thing to play for, because we're playing for each other and that includes this community.
You've posted 2 shutouts, 4-0. How are you feeling going into this week's matchup?
Well, I think I feel pretty confident. Our guys are pretty confident. They've done a good job preparing, and moving on to the next game and trying to take it a day at a time. So, I'm excited about where we're headed. I'm proud of what we've done, but, until this point, what we've done really doesn't matter. So it's all about what we can do moving forward.
So you kind of mentioned that next game up mentality. So Rogers also a team that's 4-0. Have you prepared any differently this week, or have you just still done everything that you've been doing so far this season?
No, it's still the same thing, the same message, a day at a time, a rep at a time. We got to get better in film study. We got to get better in the weight room, how we transition between drills and practice, and really our approach to practice and all. It's really the same.
So you kind of mentioned the same message. Was there something that you guys kind of came up with in the summer leading into the season, or what's been the mentality of this year's team?
We talk about, 4 things being, playing fast, physical, discipline, and together. And, that's kind of our focus throughout everything we do, whether it's in school or in the community. We want to do things the right way. And that's kind of the 4 things that we kind of live by, fast, physical, discipline, and then doing it all together.
So with that being said, what else has kind of stood out from a team standpoint with these guys the first 4 games of the season?
Really just the togetherness. They really want to see each other do well, and that's a sign of a good team. They're really not concerned with themselves a lot. They just want to win, and they're hungry to win, and I think that's been probably the most fun part about this whole thing is it's just a group of guys who are really wanting to win. So I'm excited about this week and the opportunity we have for sure.
Is there one particular strength that stands out to you, whether that's position group or something about your team?
Not really. I think all three phases we have a chance to be really explosive offensively, first of all. And I think in the special teams, that phase of the game, we really take that serious and spend a lot of time on that. And then defensively, collectively as a unit, I think those guys have done a tremendous job this year and preparing and then going out and playing extremely fast. So, I guess we got a really fast team and we play at a high level. And so, I think we'll always have a chance as long as we're doing that.
And then last question I have for you, I mentioned earlier, another great team you're going to be taking on Friday. What are you expecting from the community to come out and support your team tomorrow?
I expect them to come out for it to be loud. Trinity is a great place. They love football. They love to watch kids go out and represent our school and our community the right way. So I expect them to come out and be loud and be behind the players.
As much as I've loved talking with you on Zoom, I think I need to go take another nap. But
Several. Please do. Popsicles.
It's almost 5 o'clock. I'll just sleep until next morning.
Just sleep until week 8. Just make sure that you are fully healthy for you.
But all right, thanks for joining me via Zoom. Hopefully tomorrow I'll be there in person, game of the week. But another great week to look forward to tomorrow with high school football and more weeks ahead. So this is bye for now. Hopefully next week, fingers crossed, we'll be in person. But thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.